Good evening. It is among the scariest threats our nation has faced since 9/11, and after the beheading of a second American now by ISIS. For all those who may be wondering if the U.S. is going to rise up, take the bait, and get into the fight to root them out, the answer today from both the president and vice president appeared to be clear and unambiguous.
We will not be intimidated. Their horrific acts only unite us as a country and stiffen our resolve to take the fight against these terrorists. And those who make the mistake of harming Americans will learn that we will not forget, and that our reach is long, and that justice will be served.
As a nation, we're united. And when people harm Americans, we don't retreat. We don't forget. We take care of those who are grieving. And when that's finished, they should know we will follow them to the gates of hell until they are brought to justice.
The vice president today at the Portsmouth Naval Shipyard, the president before that in Estonia. And as the U.S. decides to go after ISIS, ISIS continues to attract and recruit members. Just today, the U.S. Secretary of Defense said upwards of 100 Americans are believed to be fighting for ISIS in the Middle East. And tonight, in an NBC News exclusive, Richard Engel has been able to find one of those Americans. Richard's with us tonight from the Syrian border in Turkey. Richard, good evening.
Good evening, Brian. We've reported that Americans have tried to join ISIS, but we haven't been able to hear directly from one of them until now.
ISIS militants are brutal killers whose victims include Americans. Yet there are Americans, an unknown number, who are ISIS recruits, including Donald Morgan.
My Islamic name is Nasser Abdul Rahim.
What attracted him to ISIS?
Someone has to defend Islam, and somebody has to defend innocent Muslims.
NBC News interviewed Morgan in Beirut through a freelance journalist. He didn't hide his intention to join ISIS, which calls itself the Islamic State.
I purchased a ticket with the intent of entering to Syria, either joining up with medical and food aid convoys or directly with Islamic State.
Don Morgan, now 44, was educated at a military academy. He was a member of the National Guard, a deputy sheriff, a bodybuilder, raised Catholic in Salisbury, North Carolina.
This is the house where Don Morgan lived, at the end of a quiet street in a middle-class neighborhood. And the question on the minds of his co-workers and neighbors is, why would someone want to leave suburban North Carolina to join the vicious fight in Syria?
This guy's from small town, Salisbury, North Carolina. I mean, he's not from the Middle East. He's not from a messed up family situation. He's, a hometown guy.
Brian Beaver has known Morgan for 15 years.
Do you think he was dangerous toward the end? I can see him being dangerous. I can.
Morgan had been in trouble with the law and served time on gun charges. Colleagues and law enforcement officials describe an angry man struggling to fit in and finding a cause in radical Islam.
This is it. This is the path, and this is the way you're going to go.
Morgan says the change came 2 years ago. Spending hours on the internet following the wars in the Middle East, he got sucked in and started tweeting radical messages under an Arabic pseudonym.
A push came from being mistreated by people around me who didn't share the views I had.
He decided to join ISIS last June and began to make his way from Beirut to Syria. But he was stopped on the way by authorities in Turkey and sent back. Soon after our interview, running low on money, Morgan returned to the U.S., knowing the risk.
I think there's a strong possibility that they'll charge me with supporting terrorist organizations and participating in terrorist activities.
But does he think he's participating in terrorist activities?
Based on their definition, yes.
When Morgan returned to the U.S. last month, he was arrested, but not for terrorism. He's accused of trying to sell a firearm online, which, as a convicted felon, he's not allowed to own. He remains in custody. He's pleaded not guilty. Morgan himself says he's not a terrorist and does not pose a threat to the United States. Others don't agree.
Richard Engel starting us off tonight from the Syrian border with Turkey. Richard, thanks.